Welcome, friends. My name is Emmy, and I'm real glad you're here, and I'm glad to share the end of February, and I appreciate your loyalty that you've been here with me all along. And it's the last week of February. Woohoo! I love every day that I'm planted here, but I have to tell you, the idea of spring coming is most appealing. I'm sure you agree. So I have my usual supplies. Today I went with a kiss because I felt like I might need some kisses and hugs, especially when we finish. I have a bit of an eraser, which I think might also come in handy, and my usual assortment of supplies. So grab these things and let's get started. The paper I'm using is a little bigger today than I often like to use, so I've taken the time to write it down for you. Sorry about the glare there. So the paper is 4.5 by 4.5 or 11.5 centimeters. The pattern we're using today is called Shamrocks. Shamrocks is kind of a intro to you for you and me to some 4-leaf clovers. And bookmark is courtesy of my son. This is something that's always has been very important to him, and I love to honor our kids. I'm sure you do too. So this is where we're going. Take a screenshot if you like. I'm not planning on doing color with you. That said, you're welcome to add color. I think it's a pretty one to do. I put it on a card because I have some loved ones that really like hearts and like shamrocks. So it just seemed like a lot of fun to get the two together. And we'll maybe refer back to that from time to time. Now, I don't really feel I need to use this heart on here, but if you want to quickly cut yourself out one that you can use, you saw the size that we're doing, and what we're gonna do is lay any version of a heart on your paper in pencil. So we're gonna start with that. So just because I have this, I'm gonna lay it on here in pencil and I'm gonna trace over it. As I mentioned, it doesn't matter. Pencil is made to be erased. It's made to be changed. And I'm not even sure I'll need it, but it can come in handy, right? There. All right. We're almost into the land of shamrocks and Celtic patterns and wee little creatures and fun little people that are leprechauns and pots of gold, and I'm looking forward to that too. Let's start again. Now I can switch right over to pen because my shamrocks are pure of my own design. There is no design to share with you other than if you make an orb for your centerpiece, and then anywhere you like, I'm going to come along with a long line and bring it back in and back out again. And that's pretty much my shamrock pattern. You can go all the way around. You can change up the size. Just like if you find a shamrock out in the yard, if spring is on its way to you, but that's the shamrock pattern. In other words, there isn't one per se. So I'm going to put a shamrock kind of in this lobe here, bit low. And then I'm going to start with that stick out that's kind of a soft curve to it, and back at the top and in. Do it again. Out. Bit of a soft curve, back in. Maybe I'll come back this way. Feel free to make your shamrocks as you visualize them, not as I visualize them. And I prefer to have 4-leaf clovers. So I'm going to leave a little area for a stem here. So there's a little bit of an opening left. And I will take a minute and put some whiskers in here for fold marks. I live in the land of enjoying threes, so that's what I'm going to do. But you can put as many or as few as you want. You can put that as high up as you want also for your fold line. Your choice, whatever is comfortable to you. I'm going to have a shamrock up here, right off of the heart. And then the shape is the same, out and back in, kind of a lazy C almost. Of course, if you prefer, you can do this in pencil and overdraw, like we did the heart. I think you're going to be fine though, so have faith in yourself. Get the sweet little whiskers in there for your fold line. Easier to do it because otherwise, if you're anything like me, you'll forget. You're having fun, and anyway, it isn't a biggie either way. I'm going to put a third one in too. And by the way, this is my own design, and they all are. So I'm not sharing anybody else's design with you, just something that I liked. Right now I'm having a lot of fun. We're working on a March series for the two of us, or the group of us, to work on together. That will be fun too. Nice. Now that you've done them, can you see how important these whiskers are? Even before we shade. Sweet, sweet, sweet. So the next thing I want to do is get my stem on here. So my stem is I really want that to go from one to the next and the next. So I'm going to start on one side, take my stem in a lazy way up, and then I'm going to go tight and come back a little wide at the bottom. So this is an aura line. Tight, 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 and a little bit wider, and reconnect. Do that up here, and maybe I'll use this area for this to come off at. Kind of cool looking, don't you think? To have that. Four-leaf clovers don't have the sturdiest stems, as I recall. And here's another one. Come up, off, aura back down, skinny, skinny, and more to the wide. Oh, beautiful. Isn't that fun? So now that I've got this on here, I'd like to overdraw. And that means I want to overdraw the pencil line of my heart. And this is where I can change it if I want. If I think that's too wide or too narrow, whatever. I think that looks fine. I won't even see it behind that shamrock. Wow, isn't that sweet? And you're gonna have a heart. I think you can tell it's a heart, don't you? If I wanted, I could bring this down here a little lower, like the lobe is coming down here from the heart, and here it's behind, and totally behind that one. So if you want to rearrange that so that something is a little different, you remember how this is quite a bit higher so that you can tell that's a heart. I can tell it's a heart, but up to you. Alrighty, now that we've got this sweet pattern on here, I'm going to put 4 hearts, one in each corner. Don't worry if they're a little different size each. Nobody's going to look at one little spot. It's not how we're made, and it's not who we are. So now that I have that, what I want to do is put a heart in the middle of each of the 4 sides. to create the border that I'm working on. It looks like it's gonna be a little off-centered on the bottom one, and I don't have a problem with that. I really like to have a little cutout on that heart. And I'm going to put one here right in the middle. A little cutout. Do it again. Kind of like a very lazy shepherd hook, isn't it? And the fourth. Since I like that so much, I think I'll take a minute and do that with the other ones as well. It will make a lot more sense to me if they all have that same look. There. And the next thing I want to do is put that cute shrock pattern that I was telling you about in between the hearts all the way around. Shrock is like this. All you do is make an X, and then from the outside point of the X, you kind of come back and cut a little bit of the point off, that middle where the 4 are. Do it on this side. You can come from the outside in or the inside out. Doesn't matter at all. Same thing here. And the fourth one. Just like any Zentangle, now this is going to be thick and dark. Feel free to change it up as you choose. And here's where it becomes our 4-leaf clover. I want to start singing. I'm looking over a 4-leaf clover. So that's what we're going to do on all 4 sides with that sweet pattern. So I'm going to make a X, and then I'm going to come in here like this, cut off that middle point, darken in the middle, and then add the cute little bumps. You might see this pattern again. I have quite fallen in love with it. I've been using it on and off for quite a long time. There are no rules in Zentangle. It is made to be what you see. So it is well assumed that you may be changing some things up. Even the patterns, you see. So whether you want that to, for what my example is this, do you want that 4-leaf clover to have kind of tight lobes, or do you want them to be loose? Very much your choice. Play around with it, see what you like. Can't get it wrong. An X, connect, darken, reaffix those points if you feel they're a little lazy, and turn. Keep your work in front of you, of course. And here we go again. Last one. Oh, not last one. One more. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is put some lines to connect this entire border that surrounds that sweet little heart with its 4-leaf clovers. And I'm going to do, as you can see, a bit of lines with breaks in the lines. Don't do them tight and touch the hearts and clovers unless I want to. So if you want to, go for it. I'm going to go around this probably to create this border, oh, maybe 3, 4, 5 times. So I'll speed this up and add a little music for you and me. And I'll meet you at the end. That's about it. Isn't it sweet? Don't you just love it? So let's put a lot of shading on. Grab your pencil. And the first thing I want to do is shade in each of these areas of the fold lines so that this will fold for me or give my illusion of folding. Now I really want to add a little shading behind, so I'm going to work kind of tight here, behind each of these lobes of the clovers. Working pretty tight to it. I'm going to go right over this one so that the one on top gets the shading. This I'll shade, but I just will allow it to go underneath. I would advise you, and I also try to be very aware that I don't want to get my hand in the graphite. This is now graphite instead of pencil lead. And I don't want to get my hand in it because all I'll do is smudge. Now it truly depends on what kind of paper you're using, whether that's going to be a problem, a potential problem for you or not. In other words, it might not be. And I really want to shade inside the heart. So I'm going to do a wide band of shade. You see, I'm really working with my pencil very much on the side of it instead of the point, so that I can pull lots and lots and lots of shading out and have this heart have a lot of depth to it. Look at this heart, how much depth it has here. And that's what I'm trying to do by having the shading on the inside, not the outside. So it's as you choose it, of course. And some of my shading was from the color pencils, which we're not using on this. So ours will be a bit different than that picture, but still, you get the idea. This is quite a heavy band that I'm laying on here. And as you can see, that really pulled away, and so I'll just have to thicken it with more graphite. It's going to be fine. I would like to do one side of this stem on each of the stems, not both sides, just one. But like, so it's going to have the illusion of laying on here. So that's as much as I want to do there. On the hearts, I'm going to get a little shading on the bottom of each of them. Oh my goodness, shading is so much fun. You can do quite a lot of fussing and have quite a lot of fun with shading, I think. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is go back where I was to start with and start right back here pushing that graphite. Push it out into the clover, into the leaf. See how I'm pushing it out? So that it starts pretty tight here to the middle, and then it works out right over that pencil lead. And I tell you what, this really does lend itself to color, but nice. This is so pretty. So you're just going around each of these and smudging what you did with your blender stump or your Q-tip, whatever you choose to use. I'm not pushing it out into the paper. I'm just softening it right up close to each of these leaves, these clover leaves. What a simple design, but how sweet it is. I was real happy when I came up with this one, I'll tell you. Okay. Now I want to take a minute and spread this out, and I do want this to diffuse into the white of the paper. So you see how I'm actually kind of going around in a circle? Because what I'm trying to do here is not have that line that I originally started with. I want it to go into gray into white. So I'm pushing it out into the paper. And I'm trying to get that line that I originally put in there gone. I still want it to be darkest around the edges, yes. But if it kind of goes right into the paper, push it in, I think you'll look at that and you'll go, oh, that's so cool. Do you see the difference already from one side to the next? And I forgot the little stem, didn't I? Want that to have the illusion of laying on the paper so that it's up from the paper just like it was a real flower. If I do it like that, just one side, then that illusion will work for me. That seems a little like maybe I missed it. Did I miss that? Okay, the other side. So push it out like you did before, right into the paper, until it's just white out here. See, there isn't any color or graphite, which is a color gray. Oh, I hope you're in love with this like I am. I'm just in love with this pattern. I'm in love with what it did. Oh man, that's pretty. Nice, nice, nice. Ooh, isn't that gorgeous? So I have my white, my gray, and my dark, and my black. And then all I have to do here is a little bit of shading up the two sides of the heart, the middle and the two sides. Now you can certainly do more if you want, but that's where I have an idea. Doing kind of a similar thing. You see how it looks at your end. Wowee. So when we do Zentangle, we take a minute to appreciate and we thank and we're grateful for being together and this beautiful thing that you and I made together. So take a minute and put your initials on here somewhere. Your chop, as they call it in Zentangle, whatever your initials are, just lay them on here somewhere. Grab that well-earned piece of chocolate, and thank you so much for sharing your adventure with me today. Thank you for sharing February, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in March. See you again. Bye.